Hi scary lovers. Please like and subscribe if you're into scary stories like me. In a small, isolated village, whispers of dark rituals lingered in the air. The townsfolk spoke in hushed tones of an old woman named Maelis, who lived on the outskirts, shrouded in shadows and rumors of black magic. One night, driven by curiosity and a desire for power, a young man named Elias ventured to Maelis's decrepit cottage. He knocked hesitantly, and the door creaked open to reveal the flickering glow of candles and shelves lined with strange, dust-covered artifacts. Maelis welcomed him with a knowing smile, her gnarled hands hovering over a bowl filled with herbs and ash. "What do you seek?" she asked, her voice low and gravelly. Elias, heart racing, declared his ambition for wealth and respect. Maelis nodded and began a ritual, chanting incantations that sent chills down his spine. As she worked, the air grew thick with a palpable energy. Finally, she handed him a small vial containing a swirling black liquid. "One drop will grant you your desires, but be wary. The price is steep," she cautioned. Ignoring her warning, Elias returned home and consumed the potion. Instantly, he felt an overwhelming surge of power. Wealth and influence followed, but so did shadows that lingered at the corners of his vision and a sense of dread that gnawed at him. As weeks turned into months, the villagers began to notice strange occurrences. Livestock fell ill, crops withered overnight, and an unnatural darkness enveloped the village each evening. Elias, blinded by ambition, dismissed their fears until the night he heard whispers echoing through his home. Desperate, he sought out Maelis again. When he arrived, the cottage was desolate, as if abandoned for years. In her place, he found a single mirror, its surface rippling like water. Leaning closer, he glimpsed his reflection, but something stared back. Eyes dark and hollow, a twisted version of himself. Panicking, he turned to leave, but the door slammed shut. The whispers grew louder, morphing into tortured wails. He realized too late that Maelis had trapped his essence within the mirror, feeding on his ambition and despair. The village remained plagued by darkness, and in the heart of the forest, the old woman's laughter echoed, waiting for the next soul drawn by the lure of black magic. Days turned into weeks, and the village remained under a shroud of despair. News of Elias's disappearance spread, but curiosity morphed into fear. The townsfolk began to speak of a haunting presence, claiming they could see Elias's face in the shadows, his eyes pleading for help. Meanwhile, trapped in the mirror, Elias's spirit was tormented. He could hear Maelis's voice, soft yet sinister, echoing in the depths of his mind. "You wanted power, my dear. Now, you are nothing but a whisper of what you once were." Desperate to escape, Elias began to focus on the remnants of his former self, drawing on memories of laughter, love, and the village he had left behind. With each memory, the mirror pulsed, vibrating with energy. He felt a flicker of hope and reached out, searching for a way to break free. One night, a young girl named Lila, known for her courage and curiosity, ventured into the forest, drawn by the stories of Elias. She had heard of his ambition and the dark magic that ensnared him. Lila stumbled upon the old cottage, its eerie presence looming like a ghost. As she approached the mirror, she felt an inexplicable pull. Elias's voice, faint but distinct, called to her. "Help me!" he cried, his spirit flickering like a candle in the wind. Lila, her heart racing, remembered the village tales of courage and sacrifice. She gathered her resolve and recited an incantation she had overheard from the elders, words that spoke of light and truth. The mirror began to shimmer, responding to her voice, and Elias felt a surge of power from her determination. Suddenly, the mirror cracked, splintering the dark magic that held him captive. "Lila, keep going," he urged. With one final, defiant shout, she summoned all her strength, and the mirror shattered, releasing Elias's spirit in a whirlwind of light. But Maelis, sensing her power slipping away, appeared in a flash of shadows. "You meddling child!" she hissed, her form twisting and warping as she tried to reclaim her hold over Elias. In a moment of bravery, Lila stood firm. "You have no power here," she declared, wielding the remnants of her incantation. The shards of the broken mirror glowed with an ethereal light, driving back the dark figure of Maelis. With one final, piercing scream, Maelis was consumed by her own magic, vanishing into the void, leaving only silence in her wake. Elias, now free, turned to Lila, gratitude shining in his eyes. Together, they returned to the village, where the darkness began to lift. Though the scars of black magic lingered, the bond between them grew stronger. And as they shared their tale, the villagers vowed to remember the price of ambition and the power of courage, ensuring that the darkness would never return. Months passed, and the village began to heal, but shadows still lingered at the edges of their lives. Lila and Elias worked tirelessly to rebuild, sharing their story to warn others of the dangers of black magic. However, the memory of Maelis's dark presence never truly faded. In a neighboring town, a man named Garrick, a scholar obsessed with the arcane, caught wind of the tales surrounding Maelis and the shattered mirror. His curiosity turned to ambition. He believed he could harness her power for himself. He spent nights poring over ancient texts, learning about the dark rituals that had once granted her formidable strength. One stormy night, as thunder rumbled ominously, Garrick ventured into the forest, guided by the whispers of the wind. He found the remnants of Maelis's cottage, its stones cracked and overgrown, but the air hummed with a familiar energy. He set to work, gathering the scattered shards of the broken mirror, convinced they held the key to restoring her power. With each piece he collected, he spoke incantations filled with greed and malice, weaving together an intricate spell to awaken Maelis. As the final shard fell into place, a violent gust of wind swept through the clearing, and the shadows twisted into a familiar shape. Maelis emerged, her form coalescing from the darkness, eyes burning with a fiery hunger. "Who dares to summon me?" she demanded, her voice echoing with ancient wrath. Garrick, trembling yet exhilarated, bowed low. "I am Garrick, and I wish to serve you. Together, we can reclaim your power and unleash chaos upon the world." A wicked smile spread across Maelis's face. "You seek power, young scholar? Very well. But know this, I do not share power lightly." With a wave of her hand, she drew energy from the surrounding forest, absorbing the life force around them. The shadows thickened, and the air crackled with dark magic. Garrick felt exhilaration mixed with fear. He had awakened a force far beyond his comprehension. As Maelis regained her strength, she revealed her plan: to reclaim the village and punish those who had thwarted her. "You will help me, Garrick. We shall gather the souls of those who defied me, and they will pay for their insolence." Driven by a mix of ambition and fear, Garrick agreed, but he soon realized he had awakened something far more dangerous than he anticipated. Maelis was not merely a servant to be commanded. She was a master of manipulation. As night fell, the sky darkened, and a storm brewed above the village. Shadows danced along the streets as villagers felt an eerie chill, unaware of the darkness creeping back into their lives. Lila and Elias sensed a change, a familiar weight pressing upon them, and decided to investigate. They ventured into the forest, led by an instinct they could not ignore. As they approached the remnants of the cottage, they saw the flickering glow of candles and heard the echo of sinister laughter. Fear gripped their hearts as they realized that Maelis had returned. Elias and Lila exchanged determined glances. They had defeated her once, and they would do it again. They gathered their courage and prepared to confront the darkness, unaware of the full extent of Maelis's newfound power. The stage was set for a final confrontation between light and shadow, with the fate of the village hanging in the balance. As the storm raged overhead, Lila and Elias approached the old cottage, its presence twisted and foreboding. They could hear Maelis's voice weaving spells, laced with Garrick's nervous excitement. The air crackled with dark energy, and shadows pulsed with malevolence. "We need to act quickly," Lila whispered. "If we confront them, we have to be prepared." Elias nodded, recalling the strength of their previous encounter. We can't let her regain full power. She'll destroy everything. With determination, they entered the clearing. Maelis loomed over Garrick, who was entranced, surrounded by the glowing shards of the mirror. Fools! Maelis cackled, noticing their arrival. You thought you could stop me? This time, I am not alone. Garrick, emboldened by her power, stepped forward. Together, we'll crush you. Lila and Elias exchanged a glance, and in that moment, they made their decision. They couldn't confront Maelis directly. They needed to sever her connection to the source of her power. Let's burn the cottage, Lila shouted. It's the heart of her magic. Without waiting, Elias gathered dry branches and leaves, setting them at the base of the decaying structure. The wind howled, carrying the flames swiftly. Maelis shrieked in rage, her power flickering as the fire began to consume the wood. No, you cannot destroy what you do not understand, she howled, but the flames spread rapidly, engulfing the cottage in an inferno. Shadows writhed as the structure collapsed, taking Maelis's hold with it. Garrick, realizing he had been deceived, felt panic rise. What have you done? He cried, trying to approach the flames, but the heat drove him back. Elias seized the moment. We need to bury the remains of the mirror, he shouted to Lila. They rushed to collect the shards, feeling the dark energy still pulsing from them. As they gathered the pieces, Maelis's furious screams mingled with the crackle of fire. With the remnants in hand, they found a nearby clearing, digging deep into the earth. They buried the shards, chanting words of protection they remembered from the elders. As they covered the last piece, a blinding flash illuminated the night, and the ground trembled beneath them. The fire consumed the cottage entirely, releasing a rush of dark energy that swirled into the sky, dissipating like smoke. Breathless, Lila and Elias stood in the clearing, watching the last embers fade. The village around them grew quiet. The oppressive weight of darkness lifted at last. They had severed Maelis's power for good. As dawn broke, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, they returned to the village, where people emerged from their homes, eyes wide with hope. Lila and Elias shared their tale, a reminder of the dangers of ambition and the power of unity. Though the scars of black magic lingered, the village began anew, filled with resilience. They knew the story of Maelis would serve as a lesson for generations to come, an enduring testament to the light that prevails over darkness. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please let me know down below what kind of stories you would like to hear more from. Like and subscribe if you're into scary stories like me. Stay safe and I'll see you tomorrow.